documents in it. What else should you bring with you? What else? Anything else? Has anybody here gone on a listing appointment yet?
CMA?
Yeah, so in your folder, you might have your CMA or your comparable sales in the area. That's a good one. What else?
Comparable souls in the
Couple
area.
of
Yeah, we just said that one, yeah.
Couple of pens.
You should bring a pen, right? Yeah. I would bring a lockbox.
Yeah.
Are you writing this down?
Yes.
I would bring a lockbox. I would bring a sandwich board. So what was the first thing you said you should bring?
Listings.
Listing, right? And then your folder, and everything in the folder, we'll do a checklist for that in a bit. So you don't have to worry about writing down the checklist yet. And what's next? Lockbox, I think I said. And what's
Yes.
next after that?
A sandwich sign.
Sandwich board. Now, some of you will hire a company to do measurements and photos, but you should still bring a measuring device or measuring like a 50-footer. Sometimes you can start your broker load, or at least you know the square footage of the house on your own, and the company may not come back, or the company that does the video, the measurements and the pictures may not be able to get there for a couple days. Who knows? So you still should do some measurements and just take some photos. Okay. We used to do that all ourselves before. And, well, I think that's close enough. Bottom line is you should bring everything you can. And dress, how should you dress? You should dress, you should have your pin on, you should have nice clothes on, look like a professional. And why do you bring everything? Just in case they're ready to list when you go. Remember last week we said, you know, if you're a two-stopper, you're not going to say, oh, listen, I know you're ready, but I'm a two-stopper. I got to go back to the office and do some stuff. And I'll come. If they're ready to sign and you want the listing, get them to sign it and do everything you can right now. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so let's see here. I've got a couple of slides to go through, then we'll take a break. So we pull up in front of the house. Let's talk about the lead-in to the sales process. But I also want you to understand something here. What have you got invested in this appointment? By the time you pull up in front of the house, what have you done already? What have you invested already? So you've either been proactive on finding the listing appointment for the seller, or you paid for marketing to get them to phone you. And you've taken training like you are right now. This is an investment, yes?
Yes.
It's not a cost, it's an investment. You get to write it off when you make money. And you get a return from all this. So think about this. You're either proactive or you return a call from your marketing. So you've invested in postcards and bus benches or invested time in making calls or something. And then you booked the appointment and you bona fide it, and then you sent your pre-list brochure. And that costs a little bit as well, yes?
Yes.
All right. And then you've paid for training, like I said, to get your listing presentation and learn what to put in your folder. So there's some costs already, yes? Yeah, you got some costs. Where's my money person? I heard something, did you?
I
You
did.
gotta find out who it is and get $10. And, see, it distracted me already. Hope everyone's got their phones up. But we will need some money for, usually I collect around $200 per class. And when I'm teaching in the hotels, we buy a cake with that money for graduation. So make sure you get the money because we want to get our graduation cake, okay? All right. And so what was I saying? Because I was interrupted there.
And the lead-in sales process.
The lead-in? Yeah. Oh, what we've done is invested in time and money before we even got there. We bought some nice clothes, yes?
Yes.
Yeah. So you got training, you got clothes, you got marketing, and you're paying an office bill, and you haven't even got paid yet for this. But you're earning money. I need you to know you're earning money all the time when you're doing everything I just mentioned. You're earning money. Now it's time to get a paycheck from this, yes?
Yes.
So, you know, when we pull up in front of the house, where should we park? Should we park in their driveway, maybe, if there's nobody there?
No,
Why should we not park in the driveway? What do you think?
in case someone pulls up,
Someone pulls up behind us, you mean?
like
No,
someone from their
like-
family.
Someone wants to get out of the garage?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what's another reason maybe we shouldn't?
Library, something else.
If
Do you guys know before you have a oil or transmission leak on your car, do you know before?
No.
Or do you usually see it on the ground and then know you have it?
You see it on the
So how
ground.
do you think the sellers will feel when you see you have an oil leak on their driveway? Right? So you should park, write this down, park across the street, not in the driveway. And again, dress like $1 million. So we're gonna teach you the lead-in to the listing appointment, to the sales process specifically. And then I'm gonna show you how to do it. And then we're gonna teach you how to do the sales process, or at least the beginning of it. And in a bit, when we role play, you'll pick a partner, and there's a critique page you'll have. And you'll say the lead-in, and then you'll say the sales process, and the other person will critique you, and you won't switch. And when you come back from break, we'll switch and try it again. Okay, but let's go through the lead-in first. So remember what it took to get there. You pull up in front of the house, park on the
Across the street.
park across the street, and make sure you are focused.
Focused.
So imagine, so if I do a visual here, I'm driving, pull up in front of the house, park across the street, and then I'm what?
Focused.
See how I did this, you guys? Everyone seen that?
Yes.
Focus.
This means what?
Focus.
Focus. Okay. Because I'm going to tie it all together and do a little bit of a show sort of thing here, so you can remember it a little better. Okay. So we make sure we're focused. Then we want to strut to the front door. Strut to the front door with an air of confidence, or strut to the front door like you do it all the time. Like, don't strut to the front door like Mick Jagger, if anybody knows who he is, because they won't let you in. That's just, they'll go, ooh, this one looks weird. So you want to walk with confidence, though. So it's not really a strut as much of an air of confidence. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And then when you get to the front door, you want to ring the bell. You want to ring the bell, and if it's busted knock, you know what I mean. You got to get their attention, right? So you ring the bell, and when you see them coming, maybe you could
If you get a smile.
smile. And when they open the door, I'd like you to pay them a sincere compliment. Could be how nice their yard looks from the Christmas lights this time of the year, or pretty soon anyways. Or how nice something looks from first glance. But don't get carried away and say too many compliments. If you start saying, well, I love how your yard looks, you know, you guys do your own decorating and stuff, or is that professionally done? And they go, oh no, we did it ourselves. And then you step in the house and, wow, I love how your house looks. Did you do the decorating yourself, or is it professionally done? And they're just starting to go cha-ching, and the realtor said, the painting and the colors and all that, you do that yourself? Is it professionally done? The realtors can get carried away and they go, oh, the kids look beautiful. Did you do that yourself, or is it professionally done? Yeah. It sounds funny when I make it sound like that, but some realtors come in and they're just going, wow, ooh, ah, and all this stuff, and the sellers are just going cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. So if you're going to give them a compliment, how many should you give them?
One.
One, usually on, but what about you go to a place and it's messy? The yard's messy, it's not taken care of, it's run down. They open the door, and you want to give them a compliment. Right? And you can't think of what to say. I'll tell you what to say in a second. They say, come on in, take your shoes off, and you're thinking, why am I being punished? The last 1,000 people that came through here never took their shoes off. You know, I mean, just saying, we're just having fun with you, right? You know, maybe you compliment on how nice they were with you on the phone. You know, oh, thanks for having me. I just want to thank you for how nice you were on the phone. It was a pleasure talking to you. And you go in, because some places will shock you. When you go on 3 to 5 listing appointments a week, 40 weeks a year, and you're into your 5th or 10th year of real estate, I've seen stuff that you wouldn't even believe me. Really. I mean, you see some of this stuff on some of the TV shows, you know, the hoarders, or, you know, the extreme stuff, and just some really messy things. I've seen one, here's one I've seen personally. They had a townhouse condo. So on the outside, because of the association, all the buildings look the same. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, condo fees, reserve fund, all that stuff. And so when I did the comparables, which I'll teach you about next week, I looked at the complex sales. And with the outsides all looking the same, you figure the comparables would be pretty accurate. Would you agree? Mm-hmm. But when we opened the house, not only did it look like the carpet looked really worn out, like, you know, it was worn down, just like, you know, how somebody has a path on grass. It was worn down, like, in the whole, it was never, I don't know, it was bizarre. And it smelled bad, really smelled bad. Like, I'm not just talking about, this was really bad. And when I started to go in, I mean, there was clothes everywhere, and you could just, it was just filthy. They hadn't washed anything for years. And whatever the value was in the comparables, This one was, you know, tens of thousands less, not only just for cleanup, but obvious repairs. There was holes in the walls. It was disgusting. And one reason for the smell was the husband and son were hunters, and so they brought a lot of, you know, some of the animals back there in the basement, you know, the horns and the whatever, but they weren't finished taking care of them properly, so they had a bad smell. And they wanted the same value as what the other ones were selling for, and this thing wasn't even worth half that. You know, so you'll see everything, that's all I'm saying, as long as you go on enough appointments. So I mean, for the right price, I could still sell that place, but I mean, boy, I tell you, they definitely had to do something with the smell just to get people to even walk through it. It was that bad. So you pay a sincere compliment, take them to the, where?
Kitchen
Kitchen table. Always to the kitchen table. Now before somebody says, hey, what if there's no kitchen table, you know, let's just go with the, well, if there is no kitchen table, go to the kitchen counter. Can we do that?
Yes.
Alls I'm saying, if it's a vacant property, you can probably go anywhere, but if it's furnished and there's people that live there, go to the kitchen table. That's where people usually go to make their decisions. There's less distractions. Don't go in the living room and have the TV on and the kids running around, the dog, you know, coming up to you and all that kind of stuff. Go to the kitchen, what?
Table.
Table, every time. Can you promise me?
Yes.
Yeah, and even if you have to go there, like that particular listing I told you about, she said, do you want to grab a seat? And I was like, you know, but I didn't react like that in front of her. I said, well, let's go to the kitchen table. So you got to take them to the kitchen table. I took her. Like I just said, no, let's go to the kitchen. I started walking there. Nice, I was nice about it, but I started walking there. I got there, and the reason she didn't want to go there was a pile of clothes on the kitchen table.
Oh.
I just said, where do you want these? I mean, I may be a little aggressive here, but the point is, it's that important to go to the what?
Kitchen
Kitchen
table.
table.
Sit down and talk about anything but real estate. In other words, small talk,
Smart.
smart. So what could you talk about? Everybody talks about the weather, or Oilers, or Flames, or Chevrolet, or something in the news, or something you've seen walking in, a picture of the kid with a hockey, playing hockey or soccer, and you just mention, or this pre-list brochure that I mentioned. If you do this right, before you were there, you couriered this over with a confirmation of the appointment. The majority of the time, they will look at it. And guess where it'll be sitting?
On the kitchen table.
Kitchen
Right on the kitchen table. And you'll go, oh, I see you looked at the brochure, and they'll go, yeah, most of the time they will. As long as you, especially if you courier it over. They're like in their hands from a courier, from Amy. Wow, thanks, that's impressive. You know, the realtor, you know, and they sit down, grab a tea or a coffee, and they look at it. And when you're not there, they want to know this stuff. Do you think they want to know a little bit about Amy here? You know, her bio, her passions and hobbies, a little bit about her company, a little bit about the board she works through and the council for the province and the state. And, there's some questions here to make sure that she answers them properly. And of course, if they're going to interview another realtor, they ask them your questions, Amy. And it looks good, right? And you just sit there and you go, I see it's on the roof, and if you don't know what to start talking about to small talk smart, you just say, any questions about the brochure? Yeah, I didn't know that you did figure skating and whatever, you know, that's in your passions or hobbies or something. And, yeah, you know, and so you chit chat for a little while, but how long? 2, 3, 4 minutes, that's it. If they want to talk, the more they talk, the more comfortable they are with you. So let them talk the 3 or 4 minutes. And at some point, you might say, you know, there's a segue you need, or a moment where you need to get to the next part. So when you sit down at the kitchen table, put your book here and your computer here. And put your folder on the corner of the table. I would recommend you have a different color for buyers and a different color for sellers. I would say maybe use yellow folders for sellers and blue folders for buyers. So make a note of that, okay? Put your yellow folder here, put your book here, put your computer here, small talk smart. And then when real estate comes up, you'll say, well, here's what I have for you today. And give me an ooh for this.
Ooh.
Sales process. And this is page 1 of your book or your computer. Page 1 of your sales process. You got that? Did I miss one?
Yeah.
Let me go back here for you. Sales process, sorry, number 8, I thought it was up there. Once you, and I said it verbally, I guess, right? Once the real estate is brought up, move towards the what?
Sales
Sales process, which is coming next. And that is your first page that'll come up on your computer or in your book, first page. Okay, and give me you again. Ooh. Thank you. And so, isn't this neat? Today is about the listing process or the listing presentation. This is the one that gets you the listings. The saleable listings, I might add. This is it. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
So you think, okay, so let's go back to the lead in. You pull up in front of the house and you're focused. Give yourself a checkup from the neck up, you know. Walk to the front door or strut or walk like you have confidence. Ring the, and when you see them, you
Smile.
and then pay them and take them to the
Kitchen counter.
sit down and talk about anything but real estate. Once real estate is brought up, you open your book. You say, here, let me show you what I have here for you today. It's just 7 quick steps. So let me give you the steps, teach it, then I'll show you how to do it. Quick role play, then we'll have a break. Come back, we'll switch and do the role play again. Sounds good?
Yes.
Let me teach it first. First thing is right now you have all 7 written down, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, now the comments on the side are just to let you understand what it's for, how it works. But when you role play, you're going to want to stay on track with the 7. The first page of your book will just show the 7. It won't show the information you're going to put in the blanks. Okay, that's the idea. That's just going to have those 7. You say, well, the first thing we're going to do is ask you a series of questions. That'll save us some time, and then I'll be able to give you the right advice. Fair enough? Or maybe you say their name. Fair enough, Amy? And they're engaged in this conversation. Remember, I'm teaching right now, so bear with me, because then I'll show you how to do it. Then it'll make even more sense, and then you'll practice it, our role play. Sounds good? So, again, I'll say, here, let me show you what I have here for you today. And you turn the page, or open the book, or turn on the computer. And you say, so I've got 7 steps. First one is I'm going to ask you some questions, or you might just say what it says. I'm going to ask you a series of questions. And then the details I put on the right are just an example. You could say anything. You could say, I'm going to ask you a series of questions so I can find out what you want to accomplish. You just have to say whatever comes to mind. I'm just giving you an example. You can say this way it'll save us time, sure, you know, and that's what you want probably, right, Amy, or and Joe, or you know, husband and wife, whoever, whatever their names are. You should say their names once in a while. If you think, and I've had my issues with names. Somebody else say, "Hi, my name's Dwayne." They tell you their name, and I didn't even hear it. And you know, we don't pay enough attention to people's names, but it's important we do, yeah, especially in this business.
Yes.
So maybe you write down their names on the folder, and you can have the folder sitting there. So you got the address, but you got their names there too, or have their names there too. So I'm going to ask you some questions, and then it'll save us some time. And that way I can give you the right advice and find out what you want to accomplish. And then from there, Amy, and you know, they always say the husband and wife name, but you say, maybe you could show me around the property. I'd like to preview the property. Could you maybe point out some of the features to me, and this way I can see the condition of the home? Fair enough? They go, sure. Then you'll say, from there we'll come back to the kitchen table, and we'll go over the marketing plan with you. We'll show you how we get the job done. Now you won't say this is how we earn our commissions, but I put it in there to let you know that consumer confidence and marketing tied in with how you dress, how you talk, how confident you are, tied in with the value of your marketing plan will prevent people from asking you to cut your commissions. In fact, it shows them how you earned your commissions. So you won't even have to deal with it 9 times out of 10. And the 1 time out of 10 you have to deal with it, I'm going to show you how to still protect your commissions and probably even get a commission bonus for the buyer side at least. And it's going to make your job a lot easier. Fair enough?
Yes.
So back on this, I'm teaching it again. So here, let me show you what we have here for you. The first thing is I'm going to ask you a series of questions to find out what you want to accomplish. And then from there, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, can you show me around the property? I'm going to take some notes. And maybe you can point out a few things that you've done over the time you've been here. And I can see the condition of the home, and then we'll come back to the kitchen table. I'm going to go over the marketing plan. I'll show you how we get the job done. From there, if you like what you've seen with my company and my marketing, then I'm going to go over the price and estimate a net. I actually have a net sheet to show you. And this will, we can figure out how long it'll take to sell your home and how much you have to work with the net sheet. And that would be pretty valuable to you. Would you agree, Mr. and Mrs. Smith? And they go, sure, yeah, that's in hardly any realtors use a net sheet. I want you to commit to using all the little tools I give you all the time especially something like the net sheet. And we're gonna talk about how it works today, but next week, when we do the pricing segment, the method of presenting price, that's where you go in and show them how most successful sellers pick the right price. How you put the number on the net sheet will be next week. But to get through the 7-step process, I still have to introduce you to the net sheet today, but not how we price things yet. That takes a whole lesson. After, if we agree on a price, then I have some forms to explain to you. And there's a couple of things, gang. Sure, it's to help them make a decision based on facts. But they have to understand that we have fiduciary duties and they have seller responsibilities. And they should know this stuff. And here's a tip, gang. Even if they don't want to list, always explain the forms. Even if they don't want to what?
List.
Yeah, explain the forms still, as long as they let you. Why? Because they don't realize that we're any different than any other kind of salesperson. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah.
Think of the courses we take, the rules we have of the Act, the Real Estate Act. Not too many industries have it at that level. Sure, a lot of them are regulated and all that stuff, and I'm not knocking any other industry. But in this business, they need to know that there's more to listing than just price and timing. There's responsibilities, there's insurance, there's fiduciary duties, there's material latent defects. There's a number of things, and they need to know this stuff to help them to decide if they want to list or work with you. Does that make sense, everybody?
Yeah.
Too many realtors go like this, well, they're not listing today, we'll do the paperwork later. Well, I'm coming in next, I'm going to be very thorough. I'm going to get the listing, and I'm going to call you and let you know you can bring your buyers over, and you're probably going to be pretty ticked off at me. But I don't care. You didn't do your job. I did. So I got it. I'm just being blunt with you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so you want to be like what I'm teaching, because everything I do, it's all in your manual, and I'm here personally teaching you to do it exactly the same. And you'll get the exact same results. Good or great?
Great.
Yeah, yeah. So the only thing that ever gets in your way once you have the knowledge is one thing. What is it?
You.
Not me, I'm the
The
trainer.
realtor.
The realtor. There, fine, you're getting it. But next week, everybody won't say me. They'll say the realtor. Exactly. So we'll explain all the forms, that way you can make a decision based on the facts. Then we'll address any questions, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. That way we'll eliminate any fears you have and address all your concerns. And finally, we will make a mutual decision on, I'll let you know if I can help you, and you let me know if you like myself, my company, and you want to move forward. But that'll be a result of the first 6 to see if we're going to work with each other. Fair enough?
Yes.
All right. So we're going to pause the video for a second while I get you to role play. But before you do, just let me show you, and that's still on the recording here as well. So the way your role play is, it's like this. Pick a partner and make sure you have a critique page. And you want to take it out of your manual, even if you'll probably have to tear it out in this one, but it's page 1-8. We're going to be using page 1-8 a lot. So as soon as you've tore it out of your book, just put it up your hand so I know you have it. And when I say page 1-8, what lesson is that? 1, page 8. As soon as you've torn it out, put your hand up. Okay, so for technique, put the sales process for technique right now. Do that. Put the sales process for technique on page 1-8. Put the sales process. Put your name beside the words critique page. Your first name only is fine, but make it nice and big as possible. All right, and when you role play, well, actually right now, I'd like you to pass it to the person you're role playing with, because they're going to critique you. Pass it to them right now. All right, everybody's got that? Now this is the way you're going to do it. Watch carefully. I'm going to be the realtor, you're going to be the critique person and the sellers. Fair enough?
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to say the lead in first. You're going to say, I pulled up in front of the house, I'm focused, give myself a checkup from the neck up. Well, everybody's watching here?
Yes.
Because I'm telling you what to do here, you don't want to miss it, all right? So you pull up in front of the house and you're what?
Okay.
So you're going to tell them. Yeah, you're going to do exactly what I'm doing right now. Everybody hears this?
Yes.
You're going to say to the person, I pulled up in front of the house and I'm focused. I walked to the front door with an air of confidence. You can look at the page if you want. I rang the bell. I smiled. paid them a sincere compliment. I took them to the kitchen table. That's where we're at right now. You ready? And they'll go, yeah, your role play partner. And you'll say, okay, well here, let me show you what I have here for you today, so you don't have to small talk smart. And you go over those 7 steps. You say, first thing we're gonna do is this, then that, then this, then we're gonna do this, then we're gonna do that, then we're gonna do this. Sounds good? And they go, sure. And then you'll end by saying, so let me get started with the questions, because that was the first thing, right? Okay, and as soon as you say that, that's your cue to stop. And the other person on your report card will grade you on anything that applies. And it's graded on, what's the scale? 1 to what?
5.
1 to 5. Everyone sees that?
Yes.
Okay, so make sure you wrote in the sales process. And you can stop the recording now. And we'll all role play.